In this video, we will talk about EIGRP named mode, guys. Configuring EIGRP for both IP version 4 and IP version 6 on the same router can become a complex task because the configuration takes place using different configuration modes. So EIGRP named mode, that is an enhanced configuration mode introduced in newer versions of Cisco IS software that allows for a more flexible and organized way to configure EIGRP. So it replaces the traditional classic EIGRP configuration commands with a more modular approach. So EIGRP named mode allows EIGRP to be configured for both IPv4 and IPv6 under a single configuration mode by removing the configuration complexity. EIGRP named mode address family, that is a feature within the EIGRP named mode configuration that allows for the separation and configuration of different network address families under a single EIGRP routing process. So this feature provides a more structured approach to configuring EIGRP for multiple network types such as IPv4 and IPv6 within the same routing process. To configure the EIGRP named mode, there is a command as you are seeing on the screen, and this is router EIGRP followed with the virtual instance name. Here is how the configuration looks like, okay? So you type router EIGRP and the virtual instance name. This is my EIGRP for this case. And for IPv4 configuration, you are typing address family followed with IPv4, unicast, autonomous system, and the autonomous system number. For IPv6, the only difference is you are putting address family IPv6 instead of IPv4, and followed with unicast, autonomous system, and the autonomous system number. And then you go ahead and define your network statement same like in IPv4 EIGRP. Then you exit this address family. That is it. So what can I configure when I am in EIGRP named mode, address family mode? Okay, here you can define number of features such as AF interface, such as EIGRP address family specific commands. You can do some metric modifications. You can change the topology mode. So there are a bunch of commands that you can use in AF mode really. And also in EIGRP named mode, the AF interface command is used to configure EIGRP settings on a per interface basis within a specific address family. Here you can see how we are going into that mode. So router EIGRP and the name. Then I'm typing address family IPv4 or 6. For this case it is 6. Unicast followed with autonomous system and the number. And then I'm typing the AF interface. And I am going into the interface, AF interface mode. So here I can define some EIGRP settings on a per interface basis. Okay, so this provides granular control over EIGRP behavior for individual interfaces rather than applying settings globally. So AF interface command is very much useful to configure settings like EIGRP authentication, hello and hold timers, and more on a per interface basis. So you can see a list of commands that you can use within this mode. And also in EIGRP named mode, we have something called topology base. So the topology base command is used to configure the EIGRP topology table, which plays a critical role in the route calculation process. So this command helps manage how EIGRP stores and processes the routing information. So the topology-based command specifies which topology table EIGRP should use for route calculations. This command is important to determine how EIGRP will maintain and use its routing information to make a routing decision. Now on the screen we are seeing two separate configurations. The one on the left is an EIGRP classic configuration, and the one on the right is an EIGRP named mode configuration. So classic mode configuration is something we know already, right? So pretty basic. We are going to the interface mode. We are assigning an IP address to the interface, changing the hello timer for EIGRP, enabling the IP version 6 for EIGRP, and we are assigning a bandwidth percent EIGRP value as 40, which defines the maximum bandwidth that EIGRP process can use. Then I'm going into the EIGRP configuration like router EIGRP1, and I'm defining my network interface. Okay, this is pretty much we are aware of. But how the configuration will look like if I just want to go and configure similar settings for EIGRP named mode. I will still go to the interface mode to assign my IP address. There is nothing changing in here, and for enabling IP version 6 it will remain the same also. Okay, so I will go ahead and type the IP version 6 enable only. Then the EIGRP configuration itself will change. For example, in named mode, I need to type router EIGRP and my name, okay? Then within this name, I am defining my address families, right? Like address family for IPv4, I'm typing IPv4 followed with autonomous system and 1, which is equivalent of this one in here. And then I'm putting my network statement, and this is pretty much same with the left one. Then I'm going into the AF interface mode, a address family interface and Ethernet 00. Then typing hello 30. This command AF interface Ethernet 00 and hit the enter and type hello 30 is very much equivalent of this command IP hello EIGRP 130. Okay, and then if I just want to configure the IP version 6 related settings on the right side, what I am doing is I'm typing address family. This time I am using the IP version 6 keyword followed with the autonomous system number 1 still. Okay, that is equivalent of this command actually. Then I'm going to the interface mode, AF interface Ethernet 00, and I'm defining my bandwidth percent as you are seeing in here, like this is the equivalent of this command. And this is how I am configuring the EIGRP named mode really. So look, pay attention to something. There are some changes within the syntax, right? But the logic remains the same. Only thing you need to memorize is there are changes within the syntax itself. So just memorize it, then the rest will come automatically into your mind, believe me. So how I can verify the EIGRP named mode configuration? I have pretty much these comments as you are seeing on the screen. Show EIGRP protocols, show EIGRP address family, IPv4 or IPv6, AS number interfaces, neighbors, topology, and the events. So that is pretty much it from my side, and thank you so much for listening to me.